Good morning. It is now 8:14 a.m. and approaching this Friday morning. If it's Friday afternoon in some parts of the world or Friday evening, I hope everybody's had a great day, a great week. There's been opportunities where there's some milestones that have been happening for you. If it's quote unquote positive or negative, those positive or negative milestones are still diamonds in the rough for you to build and add value to your life and to yourself. That being said, I want to talk a little bit about the idea that our solutions to our problems are gems that we need to ensure that we embrace. And how we find our solutions to our problems is looking at our current results and measuring it. What I'm finding lately as well is that I'm seeing not so much of a trend anymore. I see more of an epidemic of, as an example, the results of or the impact of single parent families that are becoming more and more evident, that we have babies raising babies with pains of their experiences from the past. So for those who are single fathers or single mothers, they've been psychologically abused or mentally abused, or they haven't had the nurturing, the support, the encouragement to build a positive life of opportunity, growth, maximizing potential, finding a purpose and passion. That right now, what we're seeing is an epidemic of people settling with a bitter mentality. And we're also seeing the effects of people who have a bitter mentality impacting the positive people in their life who are not related to the past. And we're seeing this selfishness come out where people are now taking out the problem of the past on the present individuals or people, almost as if they want to see the people in their current life fail. And what we're noticing is that people are committing what I'd like to call spiritual, physical, emotional suicide. They are committing that. They are harming themselves more than they're harming the people around them. Because let's face it, everybody, we are all in a position to really improve ourselves, but also impact others around us. And that's including family. Sometimes the problems that we face with our history or with our past, the answer lies in those issues. And we can actually solve them. It's been said that 80% of anything in life is based on our psychology and 20% is based on our mechanics. So if 80% of your psychology is based upon your past, or not having the supportive mom or dad, or not having your dad around, or not having your mom around, not having encouragement, not having no one lift you up and pick you up when dust you off when you fall, instead of keeping you down and beating you down psychologically, not having those things, then you're going to become that. 80% of it you're going to become. It's obvious. And when that happens, 20% of your mechanics or your actions that you take are a reflection of that. So we'll see people settling in jobs that basically they're doing just for the sake of doing it, to have a job to pay the bill and continuing to stay bitter. We'll see it with people who have a lack of education. We'll see it with people who don't have the credentials to help leverage them, to help them get better opportunities or earn better opportunities. So they settle. They settle with jobs that are just for the sake of saying, I got a job, I'm working, I'm being productive. But that productivity is not a reflection of what I call the 3 Ps. They're not a part of your potential. They're not a part of your purpose. They're not a part of your passion. But you're forced to do it because you've taken on the generational cycle of a mentality based upon what someone else has planted in you, not realizing that the answer to you improving is in that problem. Everybody goes through challenges, including myself. My parents got divorced when I was 7. I could have easily sat back and said to myself, okay, I'm going to be a product of my environment. And what it usually says about a black person at age 7 is they're going to have academic problems. And then they're going to go from having academic problems to being the disturbance in the class, because psychologically they're being impacted by their home environment. So they can't focus. And because they can't focus, they're then going to turn to those deviant people who end up harming kids at recess time, and they beat up people, and they become bullies, and they become insecure, but their insecurity is covered by being a bully, and then hence they push them through the school system and put them in careers or in a direction that provides them with either the opportunity to either drop out of school, without getting the proper support and encouragement and help needed to stay in school. So they'll get them to drop out of school to then become a product of their environment, who turn into drug dealers, possibly turn into people who aspire to be rappers, who want to go out and live a life that is based upon what's in the music. And then hence they find themselves incarcerated in jail, dead, or in a hospital. Or the other side of it is that they end up becoming so mute that they suppress their feelings so much that they get by in life, but because they're suppressing their anger, feelings of what they've gone through, they then take it out on people who are positive in their future, who come into their life, and they deflect that pain and frustration onto them. So, what are we saying here? We are creating an epidemic. There is an epidemic happening, ladies and gentlemen, on many different levels here. And this epidemic, if not controlled and not quote unquote analyzed properly as an individual, is going to take over. We are going to see a trend of not just quote unquote mental health problems and incarcerations increasing and death occurring. We're not just talking about that. We're going to see an epidemic where those who have planted seeds of bitterness, of anger, of frustration, of a trauma of their past, which is meaning the parents' past, of the parents of the parents, when we see that generational cycle coming into these individuals who are here now, when those parents are dead and gone, they're going to continue that because no one has had the ability to challenge them to say, where do you see your problem? Where is the truth of the problem? And the truth is in the actual psychology and actions that you take of your past or of your current reality that's holding you back. The only thing holding you back is you. But yet we are going to see and continue to see people committing spiritual suicide, mental suicide, emotional suicide, and maybe even physical suicide because they don't see a way out. Because the way out is too hard. They don't want to challenge themselves outside the status quo. They don't want to rub people the wrong way because they're afraid of what's going to happen. They're afraid of being alone. They're afraid of, oh my gosh, if I say this to my mom, she's going to leave. Or I say it to my dad, oh, they're going to feel so bad that I'm going to feel bad. But yet, we don't want us to be accountable and responsible to those who were feeding us when we were just infants. We don't want them to be personally accountable and responsible to themselves to say, this is what's impacted me, but I'm going to change to be better. I want to acknowledge that this is where the problem is, but I'm not going to blame. I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to understand it. I'm going to accept it. And then I'm going to move on and be resourceful enough to change it. That is where the culture shift needs to be. And we are not seeing that. So ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Any one of us could make an excuse, including myself. I could have made the excuse of doing things and turning the wrong way because of my family situation. But that's just excuses. The time to change and the time to shine is now. Look at where you're at. Figure out your situation. Understand your past enough that you can acknowledge it and accept it and move on and be resourceful to change it. And let's see what happens. It's a great day and it's a great opportunity for that. Let's see what comes out of it.